It's debate day, and you may be wondering how it is possible that Donald Trump and Kamala Harris can be neck and neck in the polls on debate day. And I was asking myself the same question. When you consider how much coverage there has been about Donald Trump, his threat to democracy, the authoritarianism, the fact that he sides with Russia over Ukraine, the fact that he chooses Kim Jong and Xi Jinping as his best friends rather than European allies. Everybody knows it now. The cat is out the bag. It's not like he's trying to hide it. And still, it seems, according to polling, that half of Americans think that he is the right man to lead America. I am aghast. So let's just kind of break this down ahead of the debate, because obviously this could be the only debate between now and November 5. I really hope it is. I never wanted there to be these types of showbiz TV debates. I don't think they are the correct way to present candidates. And I'm saying that because these are false environments, which is why Joe Biden struggled the last time. These are not actually debates. A debate is where two people communicate freely. You talk, you talk a bit, I interrupt you, I talk, you talk. That's a debate. Well, we don't really see that in American politics, sadly. It certainly doesn't appear in Congress. In Congress, they call it a debate. But if you've seen the British Parliament, you'll know what a debate looks like. And what's really important is, in order to actually find some growth or common ground, or to convince somebody of your argument, you need to be afforded the opportunity to volley. And that doesn't happen in these TV debates. It's like, you get 2 minutes, you get a minute to rebuff those 2 minutes, then you get your 2 minutes, then you get 2 minutes to rebuff those 2 minutes. I mean, it's a disaster of a format. And it's done with music and commercial breaks and titles and graphics and stylized. And it's basically mutton dressed up as lamb. And that, for me, is not the right environment to have a proper, civic, engaged debate. And so I've had to learn that this is America and this is how things are done. And I also have had to learn that there are a number of Americans who think that Donald Trump, with his authoritarianism, with his Russia connections, with his enemy of the state mantra, because it's always Donald Trump versus the United States. When you look at court documents, they want it. And maybe America will get what it deserves. We shall see. I personally don't believe that will be the case. I think that Americans are smarter than that, and I think that Donald Trump hasn't won anything since 2016. And so, the polling, I just don't think is accurate. I think it's a red herring. And I think you'll find when it comes to polling day, people will do the right thing to maintain American freedoms and democracy by voting for Kamala Harris. So what is happening right now behind the scenes? We know about Kamala Harris doing debate prep. She's been locked down in Pennsylvania. She is doing the work. I don't know who is advising her. I don't know what strategy they're taking. From my experience on training politicians for TV debates, I can only assume that they are doing a trial run. And this is where you have somebody playing the role of Donald Trump, somebody playing the role of the moderators, and they will try and reenact how it is going to play out. And in my experience, you always aim for the kind of worst case scenario. So Donald Trump will be abusive and aggressive, and he'll try and interrupt, and he'll try and cut her off, and he'll call her a liar, and all of this stuff, and she has to be prepared for that. Now, I have no doubt that she will be. The problem is that it's very easy to manipulate the TV depending on who you've cut to. And the director has ultimate control. And we saw this with Joe Biden. So much of the TV time was on Donald Trump, and Joe Biden didn't quite get the airtime. So even if Joe Biden was going, no, you're not really seeing that. The camera is just on Donald Trump. And so understand that the TV director does have quite a lot of sway as to how this plays out. I don't trust the moderators. I don't trust their ability to recognize the threat of authoritarianism. I don't trust that they will be taking seriously the fact that Donald Trump is a dangerous and violent criminal and treating him as such. I think they will treat him like a normal Republican candidate, which is frightening considering that he is all of those things. And I think that they will try and be fair and balanced, which is unfortunate because the race is not fair and balanced. Kamala Harris is mentally healthy, and she is currently the vice president, and she has experience working in the public domain as a public servant, as a prosecutor, as a district attorney. Donald Trump is the opposite. He has run a very secretive private business, and then, of course, the hush money, trying to win the election by silencing Stormy Daniels, election interference, effectively. Not to mention Jack Smith's cases of insurrection, overturning the election, stealing classified documents, all of which are on ice at the moment. You're not dealing with two similar candidates. You're dealing with a healthy-minded individual and a public servant in Kamala Harris, and a very dangerous criminal in Donald Trump. And will the moderators make any mention of Donald Trump's crimes? Will they make any mention of his mental health issues, his personality disorder, the malignant narcissism that he has been clearly diagnosed with from literally dozens and dozens of mental health professionals, people that work in prisons and in courts every single day doing this for a living? For some reason, there has been a blackout on Donald Trump's mental health analysis in the media. So I am expecting the moderators to try and both sides this. They will ask questions that are inappropriate of a insurrectionist and convicted felon, and they will also try to test Kamala Harris. They will be putting projected questions onto her that are wholly unfair considering who she's up against. So I think we've got all of that to come. And I'm not looking forward to this debate, I'll be honest, and I'll be available to bring you post-show analysis, but I am really not looking forward to it because this is going to be a lion's den. And I fear that with the polling being so close, a lot of people are not making their mind up on who to vote for until they see the TV debate. And a TV debate is not a fair and proper environment with which to present your case for running the country. And I just hope that people remember what Donald Trump's presidency was like the last time, with riot police and with the National Guard on the street and with shops boarded up and with protests all the time about reproductive rights and LGBTQ plus rights and Black Lives Matter and all of the minority groups that Donald Trump failed to acknowledge. And, you know, if you are not white and male and wealthy and a Christian nationalist, you will not do well in Donald Trump's America. And he's absolutely clear about that. And there is more and more evidence coming out that a national abortion ban will follow a Donald Trump presidency, and not to mention the retribution aspect of him. And I think that will go as far as retribution towards international relationships. And I have no doubt that he will try and pull the United States out of the NATO alliance. So America will look very different under Donald Trump. Mass deportations. He claims to be able to close the border, which is not really possible. You know, that stuff is not legal, but Donald Trump doesn't care for the law. He is a lawless individual. And so there shouldn't be any question as to whether or not he is fit to be the president. And that is why the TV debate should not happen. But it is. And so Kamala Harris is currently rehearsing with a stand-in Donald Trump and stand-in moderators, and they are trying to test her, and she'll give an answer, and then the advisor will be like, actually, why don't you say this? Why don't you say that? It's a very difficult thing to predict when you are preparing for a debate. It's very difficult to predict. So this is why it takes a few days, because you have to cover all bases. Now let's talk about Donald Trump's debate prep. That didn't take long, did it? Donald Trump will not be doing any debate prep. He might tell you that he is. His advisors might have said, oh yeah, he's doing some. He is not doing debate prep. If anything, his closest advisors, the Stephen Millers of this world, will be saying, just focus on immigration, the border, focus on inflation, and drill, baby, drill. This is his version of energy production. despite the fact that we're already producing more energy than we ever did under Donald Trump. But those are the things that he's going to be hammering. And he's going to call Kamala Harris a communist, despite the fact that he's the one who's best friends with Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin, and Kim Jong-un. So the hypocrisy will be rife. I think it will be a car crash. I don't think it's going to be an easy watch, but I'll be there after the show to discuss it with you and to try and, bring some thoughtful analysis to see how it went. I think Kamala Harris will do great, but remember, she's not dealing with a normal person. I'm Anthony Davis. You can catch me on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel and podcast on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with Midas Touch.